Resources, inspiring interviews, business practices, and practical advice to take your art career to the next level. Join Sergio Gomez in today's Artist Next Level and get ready to take control of your career.
Hello, Next Level friends. Welcome to a new episode of the Artist Next Level podcast. And today I'm here sitting right next to none other than Dr. Yanina Gomez. How are you, Dr. Yanina?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing very good and very excited to have you here one more time to share some of your expertise and advice that you have for us as artists. So it's always a pleasure.
Oh, it's always wonderful to be here.
Well, my next level friends, today we're going to talk about when plans don't go as planned. And I'm pretty excited about this topic, not because plans go bad, but because it's something that happens to all of us in our art career. And it's one of those things that you plan your year or your month or your week or whatever you're planning. And sometimes things just fall to the sideway, or sometimes things just don't go as you perceive. This happens quite often, actually, as artists, as we approach, for example, galleries or institutions, or submit proposals for different types of things or projects that we're doing as artists. And oftentimes, the letters of rejection start coming in the mail, or now these days by email.
By email, yes.
Right? You get these rejection letters, or they say, well, sorry, we cannot accept your proposal, or you were not accepted.
Or you didn't even get a response.
Or you were not accepted in the residency program that you were hoping to get in, etc. We can go on and on.
Yeah, there's many different reasons why.
There are many reasons, exactly.
Plans don't go as planned.
Exactly. So what we're going to talk about today is you're going to give us some ideas, some points of what we can do, right, when plans don't go as we really want to or as we expected.
Right. So what I would like to share with you, I'm going to be sharing with you 4 suggestions on how to avoid feeling frustrated or defeated when situations like that happen. So,
okay.
So should we get started?
Why don't we? Yeah.
Okay, the first one is be patient, realistic, and diligent. And the truth is that it takes time to build your art career. And, we often get excited about when we read or hear about other artists who have experienced what we perceive to be an overnight success. Mm-hmm. But oftentimes, if we don't know all the years that have been put, all the work and years that this artist has been trying to build up his or her career, and we don't know the ins and outs when it comes to that person's art career, but we perceive it to be as an overnight success. The truth is that overnight successes are not necessarily the norm.
Right.
And that's
they happen, but they're not.
Right. They're not the norm. So if you're serious about your art career, you just have to really commit to it and view it as a career. And you have to be very patient. And you have to set goals that are realistic. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But you have to be diligent. You have to follow through. You have to do what you have to do. Wake up every day saying, what can I do today to get closer to my goal?
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that we talk a lot about here at the Art Next Level with the artists that we work with. It's the idea of really planning and being strategic about the future, right? A lot of times we feel that, their career is, let's see what happens. And,
right, that let's see what happens attitude is not very helpful.
Right, some things happen, nothing may happen.
Right.
If that's kind of your strategy. But what we talk about is being more strategic and being more purposeful about how we run our career. And definitely the idea of patience is important because it takes time. I remembered in my own experience, looking back now to all the shows and all the activity and so forth, it has taken a lot of time to be what I am today. And I know that time is one of those things that sometimes we get impatient.
Yes.
But that's a great advice.
And then what happens is when you lose your patience, then you start sabotaging yourself. Then you start either blaming it on others or blaming it on yourself. And then the whole situation becomes toxic. And when you have an inner self that is toxic, then things will not work for you. Things will not happen. Doors might not even be open because you are too toxic. And we have to avoid that.
Okay, so number one is being patient, realistic, and diligent.
Yes.
Correct? That's the first advice or suggestion
that
you give us when plans don't go the way we wanted to.
So the second suggestion to avoid feeling frustrated or defeated is to set realistic and challenging goals. But you have to write them down. You cannot just think about them and just hope for the best. Serious people that are successful, they have a plan. And oftentimes they write them down because we tend to forget things. So I really encourage you to think about setting these realistic and challenging goals, write them down, because there's something about writing things down that make them official. So I really want you to think about questions like this. Where do I see myself and my art career 6 months from now, or 1 year from now, or 2 years from now? And, set goals for yourself. It's very, very important that you do that. And when you're setting goals for yourself, be careful not to fall into the comfort zone. And the way I see it is this. If you set a goal for yourself and you are comfortable with it, you don't have that inner kind of fear, or if you don't feel uncomfortable, that means that you are in the comfort zone. So goals that are challenging will make you feel uncomfortable. So you have to find that balance, when it's being uncomfortable, but at the same time being realistic. But if you set a goal and you are okay with it and you're like, oh, this is going to be a breeze, well, I think that goal, it's not necessarily the best one. It's not pushing you for growth. And I'm talking about if you want to grow. If you just want to do things just for the love of the game, that's a different story. But if you want to grow, you have to go through growing pains. And in order for you to go through growing pains, you have to feel somewhat uncomfortable with that goal. Meaning, and when I say uncomfortable, I'm talking about you start kind of like, oh my goodness, I'm really pushing myself here. And, I really have to work very hard in order for me to get here. So those are kind of the uncomfortable experiences that I am saying.
And I think also, for this particular one of setting realistic goals, we have a great resource that I want to share with our friends here at the Art Next Level, which is the goal setting system for artists. And it's absolutely free. You can download it anytime at theartistnextlevel.com/goals. And what that is, pretty much, Dr. Yanina, it's we put it together. We worked a long time in putting this a whole system where you download it, and then there's also a training video that we do together. We talk about goals, how to set up realistic goals, and it's pretty exciting. It's a whole program, and then every month you also receive a video on your inbox.
A short video.
Really mini. We call it a mini video.
Videos. Yes.
Goal mini video that helps you, kind of stay on track on your goals, because that's one of the biggest, I think, things that happens when it comes to goal setting. At the beginning of the year, January, everybody's making goals for the year, resolutions, what have you. By March, everybody kind of forgot, sidetrack, and it just happens. So this kind of system helps you out. There's also a downloadable part where, as you said, you have to write them down in order to keep them alive. And actually, I have mine written down right here. So you can right next on my desk. I have my declaration that I made out of the goal setting system, and I have here my sheet with my goals, so you can see it.
And also the tracking form. There's a tracking
form, so
that helps you track how far you're going with your goal.
Quarterly or monthly, however you want to do it, you can track how much you have in advance. And it has been really helpful for me, to go through that list and to see how I am doing, and to readjust, because even on we may plan and have goals for the whole year, but maybe we also talk about the micro goals, right? How you're going to divide that into smaller sections. So even on a given month, I might not reach my goal that I had, and I have to readjust.
Exactly. Yeah. And not punish yourself.
Exactly. And actually, what's pretty cool is that in the goal setting system, we have a little box that says life event. So when you click on when you mark the live event, you're giving yourself permission to say, well, this month maybe, for some reason or another, I couldn't meet my goals, but that's okay. It's a live event.
Right.
Something happened and I just couldn't avoid it, and it's okay to start again fresh next month and say, well, how can I realign myself, recalibrate my goals, and then move on from there. So.
As long as you don't make that a norm.
Exactly. You don't want to have every month as a live event.
So yeah, if you're interested in the goal setting and progress system for artists, head over to our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com/goals. GOALS.
Yeah, and it's absolutely free, available to all our friends here at the Artist Next Level.
All right.
So we talked about already, first one being patient, realistic, and diligent. Second suggestion you're giving us when plans don't go the way we want is to also set realistic and challenging goals. And how about number 3?
The third one is think ahead and create an action plan.
Yeah.
And basically what I would like to do today is to challenge you once you set those realistic and challenging goals, to add a deadline to each of your goals. Because again, we can set the goals, we can write them down, and they can just stay there forever and ever. So you have to set a deadline, and you have to I will encourage you to even set reminders, to work on your goals. So think about this question. What do I need to do right now to get where I want to be? So these are the type of questions you should be constantly exploring. Okay, this week, or maybe let's go back, and at the end of the 3 months, this is what I want to do, right? And so what am I going to be doing every week to get closer to that 3-month goal? And then you step down into what am I going to do today to get closer to this week's micro goal. So you have to think about it very strategically. So it's very important that you are constantly finding ways or thinking about how you're going to get closer to that goal and taking action.
Yeah, and it's really important that you put that right after the setting goals. Suggestion or advice that you gave us just a minute ago is because you can have all these great goals, but unless you have an action plan, they're just dreams.
They're just
aspirations that you have.
Right.
The way I like to define a strategy is kind of figuring out the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. So figuring that gap out is what are the things that I need to cross the gap, to get to the other side. Resources, materials,
budget,
yeah, relational capital, in other words, people, etc., training, advice, whatever it is that you need to get to the other side. And that's exactly what an action plan does and helps you do as well.
Absolutely.
So and I think also in the progress system for artists that we just mentioned, it also talks about action plan, because it actually has a monthly planner kind of thing where you can write down, okay, what are my action plans for this month? And then the best thing you can do is you fill it out and then you put it on your wall. I have mine on one of those clipboards, so there's a little nail on my wall, and then just put the clipboard there so I can see it every day. And
not only see it, but also you can
put action into it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's move on with number 4.
Okay, so number 4 is, as you plan ahead, be open and aware of opportunities that may arise along the way. So, it's the whole idea as to that when you're making decisions for our career, they should be aligned to the goals and objectives that you have set for your career. So you have to be very selective when it comes to deciding what kinds of opportunities you're going to be accepting and what kinds of opportunities you're going to have to say not now or not at all. No, thank you. So what I would like for you to do is that when an opportunity presents itself, instead of saying yes right away, thinking about that scarcity mentality that, oh, if I don't do it now, I will never have an opportunity like this before. No, instead, take some time to analyze that opportunity that present itself and be selective. And you have to realize that not all the opportunities that are presented to you are legitimate, and they might not even worth your time, your effort, and your money. So think about it this way. Will this opportunity that just presented get you closer to that goal that you have set for yourself? Or will this opportunity will really distract you and prevent you from achieving that goal that you have set for yourself? So you have to be very, very careful.
I cannot agree with you more on this one. I think it's one of those that happens to all of us, right? An opportunity comes along the way, something looks flashy, and it might be a good thing, and we run to that thing. It's like the dog that's walking in the park, and then the squirrel comes along and chases the squirrel, forgets where he's going, right? So that happens to me a lot, and particularly, I'm quite distracted, as you already know.
I did not say it.
I see a squirrel and I chase it. So I have to, remind myself, okay, this opportunity is a good one. Is it right for me at this moment in my career? It might be a great opportunity, but it might not be in line with what I want to be at or where I want to go. So it's kind of a continuing balancing of what happens and the actions that we take. Will they help us? Will they slow us down? Will they hinder where we want to go? So I think definitely planning ahead and being aware of those opportunities is
and
really,
analyzing
really important.
the opportunities.
Right.
It's just the bottom line is that to stay focused on the goals that you have set for yourself. And be willing to explore other opportunities. And they might be something that you might say, okay, I'm going to pause this for just a few so I can do this, and then I will go back to it. But if these opportunity will completely detour you from the goal, then you have to think about it twice.
Right. There are opportunities that you cannot pass by, and like you said, it may be that this is actually something that you have to do, and you have to adjust your plans. So when plans don't go as we plan, it's not necessarily always because something bad happens.
Exactly.
Sometimes it could be because something good happened,
right?
Such as a great opportunity. You have this opportunity to show elsewhere or in a different city, and you were not planning, or a different country, or you got one of these big things that that if you take it now, it probably will help your art career, and it will take you to a place that maybe you are not even planning right now. You cannot foresee for the future. So in those, if that's the scenario, and if you take that route, then your plans will not go as planned. But that is okay, because then there's an alternative plan that you are making as you take these new opportunities.
I guess that's one thing to see it is like, well, this opportunity that just presented itself out of the blue will help me grow my art career in a way that if I don't do it, things will get more difficult. If that's the case, then it's okay to pause that goal that you were working towards for just kind of like temporarily. It's a temporary pause.
Right.
But if the opportunity is like what you were describing, very flashy, and it looks way too good to be true that you don't even believe it, and it will totally deviate you from what you have set for yourself, and things might get a little more complicated because the time, effort, and money that you have to put into it is just not balancing out with what you wanted to do for your career, then you have to think about it twice, and you have to really analyze it and be very careful. One
in a practical scenario for this one would be, as you were talking about it, I was thinking on my own career. There was a point in my life where I was just taking every show opportunity I could find. When my goals were just to have more shows and increase my exhibitions opportunities, and every invitation, everything, I would say yes to just about everything. But that was at some point in my career. I'm not there anymore. And now I have to really look at each opportunity, analyze it, and now it's not about numbers, but it's about the quality of the exhibitions,
so you're
and so forth.
More selective now.
Exactly. So you just have to see where you're at. Figure out what you want, and then adjust as you go, because plans will for sure happen to go not always as you want them. So let's review them really quickly, and then we close this session. So the first one, when plans don't go as planned,
I suggest that you are patient, realistic, and diligent. And the second one will be to set realistic and challenging goals. Third one, think ahead and create an action plan. And fourth one, as you plan ahead, be open and aware of opportunities that may arise along the way, and be selective.
That's right.
So to sum it up for you, my friends, don't give up, Be patient, persistent, and keep moving forward.
That's right. Thank you, Dr. Yanina Gomez, for that amazing advice to be patient and persistent. That's definitely truth. And, there's no better advice than to continue pushing forward. That's why we call it our next level. Because
exactly. There's always the next level.
Yeah, you are just one step closer to your next level. So with this, my friends, we want to close this episode. And before I close, I want to invite you, if you haven't done so yet, to go to iTunes and give us a review for this podcast. That would be an awesome way to help us out to get this podcast to more artists like yourself. And I'm also really happy to announce before we close, Yanina, too, that we now have the podcast available in Google Play. So if you have Google Play in your phone, if you don't have iTunes, that's just fine. You can now download it. You can just search for the Artist Next Level podcast, or you can search for Sergio Gomez, and you will find us there. Put us in your short list of episodes. We have one every week, and that way you don't miss them. And if you want to check the archive also and resources that we have for you, just visit our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com. So thanks again, and I will see you guys at the next level.
Check out our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com, where you will find our podcast library, learn about our upcoming webinars, find resources relevant to your career, and much more. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you at the next level.